And Renu.
Hi, ma'am.
Rupali ma'am is the proactive member of Fertile Brains. Good to see you, Rupali ma'am. She's,
Proactive
you know.
Prasanna keeps me proactive, you know.
It's good to see you,
we need young people, you know. The elder people have to be kept busy and active. Otherwise,
yeah,
you go into depression.
Definitely.
And just for your information, this Dr. Parvinder Mehta was my student. Many years
that's
ago.
so nice to know. That's so good to know. Hello, Dr. Parvinder Mehta. Good to see you.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
And I have a photograph of her with two pigtails. And we had written in fact, they had written. Last time you had another poet writer, and they had written a play called Mujhe Jeene Do, which was based on the sati, which had been committed in the 80s. And then we went from college to college performing street plays, you know. So we have great memories. She's a professor.
It's good to know. Poets and theater, it's poets and drama, it's so much interconnected.
Nita, you are in Delhi?
Yes, ma'am. I'm settled in Noida.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so I would request you to mute your mics, please. We are live on FB, so please. Welcome to the Fertile Brains, place where poets meet to share their minds. We are talking about poets talk about the poets. 12th episode, Songs of India. And today we have with us Dr. Renu Mishra, ma'am, and Dr. Ms. Sunita Hussain, and Dr. Parvinder Mehta, and Colonel Gautam Rajeshi. This post, I just last minute message, he conveyed that his mother is taken ill, so he could not make it. But then, yes, we could, the story go, continue. I mean, like, yeah, it goes. So, without wasting much of your time, I would like to invite as my co-moderator or whatever, former professor of Delhi University, Sri Venkateswara College, Rupali Sarkar Gaur, would begin the show. I would like to welcome her and give some introduction. Of course, it's my turn, but I think I could pass on to Dr. Rupali, ma'am. So, ma'am, over to you.
Good evening, dear poets who are scholars, and you're going to speak about legendary poets. This particular program we started, Prasanna and I, because we believe that somewhere we are very much involved with our own poetry. We are reciting our own poetry. We are publishing our own poetry. And kahin na kahin, we have forgotten the great legends of this country, the poets who have not only brought freedom to us, poets who have written about this country, people who have, who have expressed themselves so deeply about the concerns that this country's had. And so we thought that it would be wonderful to have poets choose the poet they want to speak about and have this program. So that's why we call it Songs of India. And I think Prasanna would be able to tell you that we've already done, I think, 17 or 18 languages. Very, very important poets and very interesting things. For Prasanna and me, it has been a great learning experience. So we begin the program today, Prasanna. I think you would like to start it. Yeah?
Yes, ma'am. And this is today will be, as you all know, last week we had Miss Rajkumari Thakur, ma'am, talked about Parsuram Jia, Sindhi poet, and Dr. Aparna Pradhan talked about Amrita Pritam, Punjabi and English poet, and Dr. Mamta Freeman talked about Janaki Srinivas Murthy, who is a Kannada poet. Each poet has given 15 minutes of time, and they could present, they could convey. I mean, like they bring out the essence of the poet who they talk about. And the main objective of this show is to highlight the regional languages and Indian languages forefront. So today we have the honor of having Dr. Renu Mishra, who will be talking about Kedarnath Singh, and Miss Sunita Hussain, who will be talking about Dom Morius, English poet, and Dr. Parvinder Mehta would be talking about Professor Puran Singh. Without wasting much of your time, let me ask Dr. Rupali ma'am to introduce Parvinder Mehta, Dr. Parvinder Mehta.
Okay, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Dr. Parvinder Mehta, who is based in the United States. She's a scholar and a published poet with her debut poetry collection titled On the Wings of Words, which was published in 2021. She earned her PhD in English from the Wayne State University and is currently completing her academic book manuscript on works of selected Asian American women writers. She teaches liberal arts and English courses at the undergraduate level at Wayne State University and College for Creative Studies in Detroit, Michigan. Her publications include several peer-reviewed academic articles in the Journal of Foreign Languages and Culture, Journal of South Asian Diaspora, Journal of South Asian Popular Culture, South Asian Review, and Sikh Formation. Her recent poetry has also been published in poetry anthologies and journals. She hopes to compile her new poems to publish her second poetry collection soon. Our poet, Dr. Parvinder Mehta, will introduce us to the legendary Sikh poet, Professor Puran Singh. So we welcome you, Dr. Parvinder Mehta, to this forum. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Can you hear me properly? The voice
Yes.
is okay, right? Okay. Okay. So thank you so much, Dr. Rupali Gaur. This is really a pleasure. And good evening, everyone. Before I begin, I want to acknowledge my special thanks to you, Dr. Gaur, for inviting me to talk today. As she mentioned, I have been her student and I'm still her student because she keeps inspiring me with continual encouragement to engage with different opportunities for creative and critical discussion. So thank you so much for that. When I first learned about this Poets Talk About Poets series, I was indeed fascinated by this concept of poetic neighborhood, right? So we are kind of understanding the language of poetry through our predecessors, right? So how they have kind of engaged with these ideas. And Dr. Gaur, you mentioned about the idea how the poets have written about the country. So I'm really fascinated by the choice of poem that I'm going to read. But first off, I want to really present some ideas, some background to Professor Puran Singh. So this is basically being a Punjabi Sikh myself, my interest in Punjabi literature is more recent, but I have been really thinking about who are the poets who have shaped a Sikh ethos within the Indian context. So my training in English literature has exposed me to all different literary traditions, right? So the idea of starting from ancient poetry, going on to all the different genres, literary genres, literary histories, I am really, really in a position where I think that, you know, the poetry itself has evolved in so many forms and manners. But back to Professor Puran Singh, he was born in Sarhad village in Abbottabad district in pre-partition West Punjab, so which is now in Pakistan. So he was born in 1881, and his ancestral home was in Rawalpindi district, which is actually the same district that my father was from before he migrated to India as a child when partition happened. So Professor Puran Singh was actually a scientist. He was trained as a industrial chemist in Tokyo, Japan's Tokyo University, and that kind of really makes it a fascinating. His prolific contribution to literature, having more than 21 volumes of poetry and prose, both in English and Punjabi, is really, it has earned him the title of a literary giant in Punjabi literature as well. So he was a professor of biochemistry at the Imperial Forest Research Institute in Dehradun, and a prolific writer. So he kind of, had some life moments which really shaped his ethos, his way of thinking, his creativity also, I would say. So while studying in Japan at the age of 19, he came under the influence of Swami Ram Tirath, who was a Hindu Brahmin mystic. And Professor Puran Singh, abandoned his Sikh identity. And this was a phase where he became a sannyasi. And so and these key influences have been documented well by academic scholars. So meeting Swami Ram Tirath, and then his encounter with American poet Walt Whitman. I'm sure we are all familiar with this literary giant who wrote the American epic poem, Song of Myself. So Professor Puran Singh read Walt Whitman in his class, and he was really, that kind of shaped his creative trajectory in many, many meaningful ways. So the last influence that has a major shift in his thinking was his meeting with another great Sikh poet, Bhai Veer Singh, who changed his spiritual direction and brought Puran Singh back to Sikhi. So the image that you see on the flyer is from his later years. So I want to kind of also bring in the mind this idea of Whitman's Leaves of Grass very briefly. So when Professor Puran Singh read Whitman's poem, he was enamored by his poetic craft and recognized in him, and there's a short quote I would be reading, the true wildness of the poet. This is from his book, The Spirit of Oriental Poetry, where he shares how he was drawn by Whitman's poetic attempts to offer, and there's a brief phrase, glimpses of cosmic consciousness. So this is what he was really fascinated by this, and also the adept use of free verse. So Professor Puran Singh poems are all written in free verse, which, if we understand the time frame, was a novelty because poetry, especially Eastern poetry, mostly rhyme is a key factor there. And so Professor Puran Singh he found this opportunity to write his poetry in free verse. One last quote I want to share. He writes, in The Spirit of Oriental Poetry, he says, to attempt to clothe deep feelings in the livery of rhyme is fatal unless one is merely composing what is pretty, unquote. So this book, actually, The Spirit of Oriental Poetry, it gives really great insights about the poetic craft. So we can say it is his poetic manifesto. So in the same work, he offers insightful commentary on many Western poets, Shakespeare, Browning, Tennyson, Wordsworth, Milton, William Blake, Goethe, Whitman, and Emerson, and also Eastern poets as Tagore, Vivekananda, and Sarojini Naidu. So this is, I'm kind of laying this background. A chemist, an industrial chemist, a professional scientist, was very well versed and had a literary mind already. Another great thing was he was also publishing a periodical called Thundering Dawn, because Professor Puran Singh was very critical of the British rule over India. And this is a time frame of pre-independence India. So that kind of brings us, helps us understand the context of his writings. He was also a multilingual writer, and I was really impressed by that. I think we should all learn as many languages as we can. So Professor Puran Singh wrote in Punjabi as well as English, and he was also well versed in Sanskrit, Persian, Hindi, Japanese, and German. So his poetry, if you were to sum it up in one sentence, we can say is an understanding of mysticism and religious devotion. So his themes are, I'm soon going to read the poem. His themes mostly are about the charming folklore of Punjab, Heer Ranjha, Soni Maiwal, Laila Majnu, all these stories that we grew up listening to, about the Sikh gurus and Khalsa sovereignty. So he really explains very well what Sikhi is about the glory of Punjab and Punjabiyat, and about spiritual consciousness and many other themes. So in some ways, he's very close to what Walt Whitman was doing. And I could also say what Tagore has done for his Bengali community is comparable to how Professor Puran Singh's writings have shaped the Sikh ethos and identity. And one last thing, he was also a translator. It's really impressive how many works he has translated. He was the first one to translate verses from the Sikh scripture, the Guru Granth Sahib, into English. And he has also translated Bhai Veer Singh's novel Sundari, which incidentally is the first novel written in Punjabi. And some other works that he translated are by Walt Whitman, Emerson, Tolstoy, and many, many others. So I hope that was kind of a brief background to understand Professor Puran Singh. He did die, I would say, very young at the age of 50. He died of tuberculosis. So he kind of perhaps knew, and you know, we have read about many poets who died young, but their contribution to literature is really commendable. So I want to read a poem which I really like, and it is called Des Nu Asis Sadi Garibandi. So Dr. Rupali, is it okay if I just read through and then we can talk about it? That would work, right? Okay. So some of you might be able to understand key parts, but we will have kind of a brief discussion. Des nu asis sadi gariban di, wasan tere mahal te maadiyan, wasan hor wad khush teriyan nikiyan nikiyan chukiyan, wasan tere des pardes sare, sukhi sukhi tere jaye te jaiyan, wasan tere baag teriyan baharan, fullan te fallan teriyan pehliyan, जीन तेरे पिपल ते अंब प्यारे, जीन तेरियां सदा सावियां बोड़ा, जीन तेरे तूत शहतूत सारे, जीन तेरियां बेरियां, फलाइयां जीन किकर जीन, जीन तेरे चाड़ ते चाड़ियां, मिठे मिठे बेर तेरे, मिठे तेरे चश्मियां ते हीरे डलकते पानी, उच्चे उच्चे पर्वत तेरे, तेरे जंगल देवदार दे सुहावने, जीन उच्चे उच्चे पर्वत तेरे, तेरे जंगल देवदार दे सुहावने, जीन लखां रंग तेरे तरत आकाश दे, जीन तेरियां सुआनियां, जीन तेरे माल डंगर, जीन जटियां दुध चोन वालियां, जीन तेरे बाल सारे, मुस मुस रोन वाले, परियां रैन तेरियां लस्सी दियां चाटियां, ऊपर तरदे उन्ना ते मखना दे पिन्ने, फिरन कुम कुम सवेर सार, लाल लाल मदानियां, दुध दही आम होवे ठंड ठंड पांदियां, जीन तेरे मजूर ते मजूरनियां, जीन सारे खम करन वाले, जीन तेरे महल उसारन वाले, नाले ओ जेड़े इट्टां फड़ान सिर ते रख रख के, गारा उलारन वाले उच्ची उच्ची गोहां ते, थीन लम्बे होर लम्बे तेरे सोने सुपने ते लम्मियां सियाल दियां रातां प्यार वालियां ਵੱਡੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰੀ ਛੋਟੇ ਛੋਟੇ ਹੱਥਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਬਾਣੂ ਬੰਨੀ ਅਸਰਾਰ ਵਾਲੇ ਚੰਨ ਈਦ ਦਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਸਦਕੇ ਇੱਕ ਸਾਰੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕਦਮ ਕਦਮ ਮੈਂ ਦੇਵਾਂ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਦੇਸ਼ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਲੱਖ ਲੱਖ ਮੁਬਾਰਕਾਂ ਉਹ ਦੇਸ਼ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਲੱਖ ਲੱਖ ਮੁਬਾਰਕਾਂ so this poem kind of really brings in the key ideas that Professor Puran Singh was also kind of writing in his prose and other poetry also. So through this poem, the word Asis means blessing, right? So he is not only expressing his benediction for his homeland, but also offering to the reader a visual saga. So you could see, if you were able to understand some of the words, he's trying kind of presenting blessings not to mahals and mariyan, the palaces and mansions, but also nikia chugiya, right? People, poor slums and hut dwellers. So he offers this visual saga almost in Keatsian style, thereby kind of immortalizing a Punjabi world through his poetic art. So when I say talk about John Keats, many of you might know as John Keats has immortalized for the readers in his popular 1819 poem Ode on a Grecian Urn. Keats presents a pastoral world, right, where and raises questions, which is how the urn becomes a historian. Keats uses that word as a historian to tell us a visual story. So Professor Puran Singh's poem also depicts a similar poetic desire for invoking blessings for his native land, Punjab, that comprises of mahals and mariyan, palaces and mansions, as well as niki chugiya, as I just mentioned, huts of poor people. It is a land of beautiful gardens and wide fields. He talks about Vasantere Bagh te Bahara, bearing blossoms and fruits as is shown in his references to pipal, kikar trees, mango trees, board, mulberries, shatut, and the clear crystal waters evoke an kind of ecological paradise. I'm hesitant to use that word, but it's not a utopia. It's a real world that Professor Puran Singh is portraying with majestic mountains and everything. So you can see his love of nature is almost Wordsworthian. The spiritual, remember I talked about glimpses of spiritual consciousness. So the hardworking laborer who picks the bricks on her head, right, is equally a source of spiritual inspiration as a scholar. So it is a world where the ordinary becomes extraordinary. And that's why I really like this poem, where the earthen pots of buttermilk with floating butterballs symbolize a life brimming with labor of love, work, and contentment. And so this is kind of also within the Sikh ethos, Kirat Karna, right? So hard work is really emphasized in this poem. He also invokes blessings for the hardworking, mud-splattered laborers, majur te majuriya. In Hindi, we say majdoor, right? Who raise and build the mansions of the marble, picking heavy bricks on their heads. So these are some of the images that really stuck to me. There was a poem I read in childhood where Todti Patthar, a stone crushing laborer, and that was really clicked well with Professor Puran Singh's poem. So this is something I really feel proud of, coming to learn about a poet who not only wrote in Punjabi but also wrote in English. His work is really commendable, and I would request you to explore more of his work. I wish that Professor Puran Singh's poetry was taught when I was reading, as a student and an undergraduate student. Maybe he is being taught. I know that in Punjabi University has come up with different volumes to promote his work. So I want to end this talk. I hope I didn't take too much time. Professor Gaur, please feel free to stop me. But just one more quotation from Professor Puran Singh. He says, "To abandon one's mother tongue is to deny thousands of years of historical development of the civilization. Such stupidity can only be done by mentally enslaved people." So he was very conscious about his Punjabi language, and he was also really mindful of exploring these ideas and conveying to the outside global world. So I hope I was able to do some kind of introductory experience of understanding who Professor Puran Singh was. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah. Would you like to? Yes.
Yeah, I think thank you so much, Dr. Parvinder, for this wonderful introduction to a poet that we didn't know about. See, that's what is very important. And what has been moving me all through your recitation, your introduction, is truly how, the poets, there was a time when poets wrote about the people, wrote about this country, wrote about the small things. And the wish, I understand Punjabi a lot more than perhaps the others who I am not sure. But I could make out that, such details, the visual details, your love for your country, today when we talk about, patriotism, we're just, moving this flag around. No, it's there in the mango, it is there in the hut, it is there in the little flowers that bloom, in the fragrance, in the rivers, in the mountains. And the way this poem just flowed, it flowed through this nation. It was not just Punjab, but it just flowed through this nation. And thank you so much. It was very moving, Parvinder. It was a very moving presentation, and I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. Prasanna, I'm sure you have something to say. And anybody else wants to make a comment, you're most welcome.
Yeah, definitely. I would like to add on something. Like, I was not knowing about Professor Puran Singh. The way ma'am introduced, Dr. Parvinder ma'am, she introduced Professor Puran Singh. I was astonished. Being a Punjabi, I was not knowing about him. And talking about the poet and the way it was being recited, the blessings he is giving to each and every person who is involved in some or the other kind of work and connected with land, connected with people. That's
Yes.
Jive. His blessings, he's with his both hands giving blessings to everyone. That, he gives his blessings to the mother, he's giving his blessings to the farmers who are working, tilling the land, and he's giving his blessings to the people who are living in the huts. So, or the people who are picking up the bricks. It's beautiful, beautiful. Truly.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Kaur. And just one thing, if you remember Whitman's Song of Myself, he talks
Yes,
about
Song of
all
Myself,
different,
yes.
Marginalized people,
Yes,
but he
marginalized
celebrates privilege
Yes.
also, right?
Yes.
So there are some echoes which are really interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Professor Najib. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. That was a poetic contribution that you rightly put. Thank you for joining and thank you for presenting so beautiful. Please let me take the honor of inviting Dr. Renu Mishra, who will be talking about Kedarnath Singh, and let me briefly read out. I introduce Dr. Renu Mishra is a doctorate in organic chemistry, former lecturer, presently residing in Lucknow. She's the author of 6 poetry books, an artist whose paintings are being published on cover pages of 5 books, and being a part of online and offline exhibition. She is editor of Bilingual International e-magazine, literature, and member of editorial board of International Journal of Science and Biotechnology. She is a regular participant and host of Kavya Goshtis and interviewed many personalities in online and offline programs. She has been awarded of many awards for her contribution in the field of literature. Today, we had the honor of having Dr. Renu Mishra ma'am who will be talking about Kedarnath Singh. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
नमस्कार आप सभी को। सबसे पहले तो प्रसन्ना को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि मुझे इनवाइट करने के लिए और इस प्रोग्राम का हिस्सा बनाने के लिए। प्रसन्ना के साथ मैंने कुछ प्रोग्राम किए हैं, जानती मैं उनको बहुत दिनों से हूँ, पर ज़्यादा प्रोग्राम नहीं किए हैं। पर बहुत खुशी है आज कि आज मैं यहाँ हूँ, और इस बात की और ज़्यादा खुशी है कि रूपाली जी इसको होस्ट कर रही हैं। तो बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आप सभी को। और डॉक्टर परविंदर जी ने बहुत अच्छे से बताया, और सुनीता जी से भी हम सुनेंगे। बहुत अच्छा इनिशिएटिव है, इसके लिए तो पहले आपको बधाई कि जैसे अभी रूपाली मैम ने बोला कि हम अपनी ही कविताओं में इतने बिजी रहते हैं, अपना ही लिखेंगे, अपना सुनाएंगे और अपनी किताब पब्लिश करवाएंगे, कि दूसरे को पढ़ने का वक्त ही नहीं मिलता, और ना हम इतना इंटरेस्ट ही दिखाते कि हम दूसरे कवियों को, लेखकों को पढ़ें और अपने इतिहास के बारे में जाने, अपने साहित्य के बारे में जाने। तो कम से कम इस प्रोग्राम से हम लोग को एक फोर्स करते हैं कि आप पढ़ो, जानो कुछ ऐसे कवियों को जो कितना अच्छा लिख के गए हैं और जिनकी वजह से हमारा साहित्य कितना समृद्ध है, हम खुद भी जाने और दूसरों को भी बताएं। अब ये प्रोग्राम आपका कितने लोग, जैसे डॉक्टर साहब, डॉक्टर मेहता जुड़ी हुई है यूएस से, तो वहाँ के लोग भी सुन रहे होंगे हमारे प्रोग्राम को, तो वो भी हमारे हिंदी कवियों के बारे में जानेंगे और हमारे साहित्य के बारे में जानेंगे और समझेंगे कि हमारा कितना समृद्ध इतिहास रहा है। तो आज के इस श्रृंखला में मैंने जिस कवि को लिखा है वो हमारे समकालीन सशक्त कवि केदारनाथ सिंह हैं। मैं हिंदी में लिखती हूँ तो जाहिर सी बात है कि मैं हिंदी के ही कवि को लूंगी, और ये समकालीन कवि हैं तो इनके बारे में हमारे जो आजकल के लोग लिखते हैं और वो अच्छे से जानते हैं उनके बारे में, और उनको जितना कोट किया गया है, उनकी कविताओं को जितना उद्धृत किया गया है, शायद ही किसी कवि को आजकल के समकालीन कवियों ने किया हो। और हमारे फेसबुक और ऑनलाइन और सोशल मीडिया पे जितना उनको फेमस किया गया है, उनकी कविताओं को लिखा गया है। तो मैं थोड़ा सा उनके बारे में, आप सबके बारे में बताना चाहूँगी कि उनका केदारनाथ सिंह बनारस के थे। उनका जन्म 7 जुलाई 1934 को उत्तर प्रदेश के बलिया जिले के चकिया गांव में हुआ था। आरंभिक शिक्षा उनकी बनारस में हुई। शोध ग्रंथ आधुनिक हिंदी कविता में बिंब विधान आचार्य हजारी प्रसाद द्विवेदी के मार्गदर्शन में उन्होंने पूरा किया। उसके बाद उन्होंने बंगाली भी सीखी और रविन्द्रनाथ ठाकुर के साहित्य का भी उन्होंने अध्ययन किया। बहुत सारे विदेशी साहित्यकारों की किताबों का भी उन्होंने अध्ययन किया और उनका अनुवाद भी किया। केदारनाथ सिंह की कविता की यात्रा का आरंभ एक गीतकार के रूप में हुआ था। वह अज्ञेय के संपादन में प्रकाशित तीसरा सप्तक 1959 के 7 कवियों में से एक थे। सप्तक में शामिल गीतों और कविताओं ने उन्हें साहित्यिक दुनिया से परिचित कराया। उनका पहला कविता संग्रह अभी बिल्कुल अभी 1960 में प्रकाशित हुआ था। इस संग्रह की कविताओं की नवीनता और तत्कालिकता ने तुरंत ही उन्हें एक अलग पहचान दिलाई। उनका दूसरा कविता संग्रह जमीन पक रही है 20 वर्षों के लंबे संयम और अंतराल के बाद 1980s में आई। इस संग्रह के साथ वे कविता समकाल के समादृत कवि के रूप में स्थापित हुए। वह बिंब विधान और शिल्प विधान के अपूर्व कवि कहे जाते हैं, जिनके पास कविता की सरल भाषा और सरस संप्रेषण है। बिंबों की नवीनता, ठेठ देसी प्रतीकों का परिष्कृत प्रयोग, कथाओं उपकथाओं का उपयोग, कविता में वार्तालाप और मुक्त छंद में भी एक गीतात्मक लय का प्रवाह उनकी विशिष्टता है। जैसे आजकल हम लोग मुक्तक कविताएं लिखते हैं, वो लय में लिखते थे। उनकी शुरुआत ही एक गीतकार के रूप में हुई थी। वह अपनी काव्य संवेदना में भारतीय नागर और पूर्विया होने के साथ ही, जो पूरब के होते उनको पूर्विया कहा जाता है हमारे भारत में, नागरिक होने की प्रतिभा दर्शाते हैं और विश्व में भी वो एक प्रसिद्ध हुए हैं। बाद की पीढ़ियों पर उनकी कविताओं का एक संतुलित प्रभाव देखा जाता है। केदारनाथ सिंह की कविताओं का रोमानी अपनापन उन्हें बृहद कविता पाठकों से जोड़ता है। यही कारण है कि इंटरनेट के उपयोग में इजाफे और सोशल मीडिया के आगमन के साथ केदारनाथ सिंह की लोकप्रियता में और वृद्धि हुई है। वह साहित्यिक कविताओं के सबसे लोकप्रिय कवियों में से एक हैं। उनकी कुछ कविताएं और कविता पंक्तियां हिंदी कविता की सर्वाधिक उद्धृत पंक्तियों में शामिल हैं। केदारनाथ सिंह अध्यापन के पेशे से जुड़े थे। कई महाविद्यालयों में पढ़ाने के बाद वह 1976 में जवाहरलाल नेहरू विश्वविद्यालय के भारतीय भाषा केंद्र से जुड़े, जहां बतौर आचार्य और अध्यक्ष अपनी सेवा दी। उनकी कविताओं पर विभिन्न विश्वविद्यालयों में शोध कार्य हुए। उनकी कविताओं का अनुवाद सभी प्रमुख भारतीय भाषाओं के साथ ही अंग्रेजी, जर्मन, रूसी, स्पेनिश आदि विदेशी भाषाओं में भी हुआ है। अभी 1960 में उनकी पब्लिश हुई थी जमीन पक रही है 1980s में। यहाँ से देखो 1983 में अकाल में सारस, उत्तर कबीर और अन्य कविताएं, बाघ, तालस्ताय और साइकिल और सृष्टि पर पहरा आदि उनके अनेक काव्य संग्रह हैं। उनकी चयनित कविताओं के कुछ अन्य संग्रह भी प्रकाशित हैं। कल्पना और छायावाद, आधुनिक हिंदी कविता में बिंब विधान, मेरे समय के शब्द, कब्रिस्तान में पंचायत के रूप में उन्होंने गद्य में भी अपना योगदान दिया है और साहित्य की सेवा की है। उन्हें अकाल में सारस के लिए 1989 में साहित्य अकादमी पुरस्कार से सम्मानित किया गया था। उन्हें 2014 में प्रतिष्ठित ज्ञानपीठ पुरस्कार से भी सम्मानित किया। आज जो मैं कविता आपको सुनाने जा रही हूँ, यही कविता मैं आपको सुनाऊंगी जो इस तरीके से पुरस्कृत हुई थी, जिसका नाम है अकाल में सारस। ये कविता जो है इन्होंने लिखी है बनारस पर। आप देखिए, क्योंकि उनकी शिक्षा बनारस में हुई थी, बीएचयू में पढ़े हुए थे, तो बनारस को उन्होंने अपनी कविता में किस तरीके से देखा है और किस तरीके से उसका वर्णन किया है, वो इसमें बहुत अच्छे से लक्षित है। इस शहर में बसंत अचानक आता है, इस शहर में बसंत अचानक आता है, और जब आता है तो मैंने देखा है लहर तारा या मड़वा डी की तरफ से उठता है धूल का एक बवंडर, और इस महान पुराने शहर की जीभ किरकिराने लगती है। जो है वह सुगबुगाता है, जो नहीं है वह फेंकने लगता है पचकियां। आदमी दशाश्वमेध घाट पर जाता है और पाता है घाट का आखिरी पत्थर कुछ और मुलायम हो गया है। सीढ़ियों पर बैठे बंदरों की आंखों में एक अजीब सी नमी है और एक अजीब सी चमक से भर उठा है भिखारियों के कटोरों का निचाट खालीपन। तुमने कभी देखा है खाली कटोरों में बसंत का उतरना? यह शहर इसी तरह खुलता है, इसी तरह भरता और खाली होता है यह शहर। इसी तरह रोज रोज एक अनंत शव ले जाते हैं कंधे अंधेरी गली से चमकती हुई गंगा की तरफ। उस शहर में धूल धीरे धीरे उड़ती है, धीरे धीरे चलते हैं लोग, धीरे धीरे बजाते हैं घंटे। शाम धीरे धीरे होती है। यह धीरे धीरे होना, धीरे धीरे होने की एक सामूहिक लय दृढ़ता से बांधे है समूचे शहर को। इस तरह की कुछ भी गिरता नहीं है, कि हिलता नहीं है कुछ भी, कि जो चीज जहां थी वहीं पर रखी है, कि वहीं पर रखी है तुलसीदास की खड़ाऊं सैकड़ों बरस से। कभी सही साज बिना किसी सूचना के घुस जाओ इस शहर में, कभी आरती के आलोक में इसे अचानक देखो। अद्भुत है इसकी बनावट। यह आधा जल में है, आधा मंत्र में, आधा फूल में है, आधा शव में, आधा नींद में है, आधा शंख में। अगर ध्यान से देखो तो ये आधा है और आधा नहीं है। जो है वह खड़ा है बिना किसी स्तंभ के, जो नहीं है उसे थामे है। राख और रोशनी के ऊंचे ऊंचे स्तंभ, आग के स्तंभ और पानी के स्तंभ, धुएं के, खुशबू के, आदमी के उठे हुए हाथों के स्तंभ, किसी अलक्ष्य सूर्य को देता हुआ अर्थ, शताब्दियों से इसी तरह गंगा के जल में अपनी एक टांग पर खड़ा है यह शहर, अपनी दूसरी टांग से बिल्कुल बेखबर। तो ये उनकी कविता थी, और इन्होंने किस तरीके से एक सारस को उद्धृत करते हुए पूरे बनारस की व्याख्या की। जैसे सारस एक टांग पर खड़ा होता है और ध्यान मग्न होता है, उसी तरह उन्होंने बनारस को, अगर आप बनारस जाएं तो इस कविता को समझ पाएंगे कि किस तरीके से उन्होंने बनारस की व्याख्या की है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आप सभी का।
Very nice, ma'am. Commendable.
थैंक यू सुनीता।
I think you had more time, no, Renu? Didn't you have, Prasanna? You
Yes,
have
ma'am.
more time. You can read one more of his poems.
5 minutes you have.
I have only this one this time.
But it
कुछ और
was
होगा आपके पास? मैं
beautifully you read out, ma'am.
Yes,
Beautiful, beautiful.
you know, I've been to Banaras, and I'll never be able to now go to Banaras and not remember this poem. You know, truly, see, this is how poetry affects you. That जब हम बनारस जाते हैं तो कुछ चलो बहुत कुछ देखते हैं because we are sensitive people. But अभी हम जब जाएंगे तो आपने जो कविता पढ़ा है उसको that will influence the way I look at that city again. No?
जी बिल्कुल।
And I was, looking at, because you were going to read Kedarnath Ji's poetry, so I tried to look at some of his, we have not heard him before, like the way you have. I wish you'd read. तो उनका वो है ना, अगर इस बस्ती से गुजरो तो जो बैठे हो चुप उन्हें सुनने की कोशिश करना, उन्हें घटना याद है बट वो कुछ भूल गए हैं कहना. So, there is a concern. If you notice, even in the poem that you have read, there's a concern for there's a paradox, a tremendous paradox in the poem. There's a आधा है but नहीं भी है, and there's a concern for the smallest thing, the city, the dead body, somebody carrying something, the flowers, the sound of the bells, the temple bell. There is a very close and a very ironical way of looking. I think there is a lot of irony in that poem.
मैम एक
If you
कविता
can
में
read.
उनकी एक इनकी कविता मुझे और मिली है जो मैं पढ़ना चाहूंगी। दोपहर पर अक्सर क्या हम लोगों ने सुना होगा कि चांद पे बहुत लोग लिखते हैं, सुबह पर भी बहुत लिखते हैं, सूरज पर लिखते, दोपहरी का पन्ना हमेशा खाली रह जाता है। बहुत कम लोग दोपहर पर लिखते हैं, आफ्टरनून पे लिखते हैं, वो बेचारी कोरी ही रह जाती है, कोरे कागज सी। इन्होंने लिखा है दोपहरिया, तो मुझे बड़ा अच्छा लगा। इन्होंने क्या लिखा है मैं आपको सुनाती हूँ। झरने लगे नीम के पत्ते, बढ़ने लगी उदासी मन की। झरने लगे नीम के पत्ते, बढ़ने लगी उदासी मन की। उड़ने लगी बुझे खेतों से झुरझुर सरसों की रंगीनी। धूसर धूप में हुई मन पर जो सुधियों की चादर अनबीनी। दिन के इस सुनसान पहर में रुक सी गई प्रगति जीवन की। सांस रोक कर खड़े हो गए लुटे लुटे से शीशम उन्मन। शीशम का पेड़ होता है जिससे फर्नीचर्स वगैरह बनते हैं। चिलबिल की नंगी बाहों में, चिलबिल का भी एक पेड़ होता है जो उगता है, जो उड़ता रहता है, आप लोगों ने देखा होगा। भरने लगा एक खोयापन, बड़ी हो गई कटुकानों को चुरमुर ध्वनि पासों के वन की। थक कर ठहर गई दोपहरिया, रुक कर सहम गई चौबाई। आंखों के इस वीराने में और चमकने लगी रुखाई। प्राण आ गए दर्दीरे दिन, बीत गई रातें ठिठुरन की। अंत महज एक मुहावरा है अंत में मित्रों, इतना ही कहूंगा कि अंत महज एक मुहावरा है जिसे शब्द हमेशा अपने विस्फोट से उड़ा देते हैं, और बचा रहता है हर बार वही एक कच्चा सा आदिम मिट्टी जैसा ताजा आरंभ, जहां से हर चीज फिर से शुरू हो सकती है। और एक और इन्होंने लिखी है छोटे शहर की एक दोपहर। हजारों घर हजारों चेहरों भरा सुनसान, बोलता है बोलती है जिस तरह चट्टान। सलाखों से छन रही दोपहर की धूप, धूप में रखा हुआ है एक काला सूप। सूप आप लोग जानते हैं क्या होता है? बहुत कम लोग जानते होंगे। जो जिससे अनाज को अलग किया जाता है, गांव में यूज होता है सूप। एक काला सूप। तमतमाए हुए चेहरे, खुले खाली हाथ, देख लो वे जा रहे उठे जर्जर मात। शब्द सारे धूल हैं, व्याकरण सारे ढोंग, किस कदर खामोश हैं चलते हुए वे लोग। पियाली टूटी पड़ी है, गिर पड़ी है चाय, साइकिल की छां में सिमटी खड़ी है गाय। पूछता है एक चेहरा दूसरे से मौन, बचा हो साबूत, ऐसा कहाँ है वह कौन। सिर्फ कौआ एक मंडराता हुआ सा व्यर्थ, समूचे माहौल को कुछ दे रहा है अंत। तो ये थी उनकी दोपहर पर पोएम। दो, एक छोटे शहर की दोपहरिया, और एक उन्होंने लिखी थी एक खेत का भी उन्होंने वर्णन किया था, प्रकृति का वर्णन किया था कि दोपहरिया में क्या क्या होता है, कैसे सहमे से सब खड़े हो जाते हैं, मूवमेंट रुक जाता है। तो दोपहरिया, और ये थे केदारनाथ सिंह जी।
Thank you so much. Would somebody like to comment on Dr. Renu's presentation? What about you, Parvinder?
I would like to add on something to it. The imagery which is there by the poet Kedarnath ji is really wondrous. बहुत ही खूबसूरती से वो जो चित्र वर्णन जिसको हम कहते हैं, कि आपके सामने एक जैसे कि रूपाली ने कहा कि अगर अब हम बनारस जाएंगे तो हम वो हमारे माइंड में, क्योंकि पोएट सेंसिटिव होते हैं और मन में वही बात आएगी। उसी तरीके से जैसे दोपहरियों की बात है या बनारस की बात है, तो वो जो वर्णन है वो आपको ऐसे लगता है जब आप सुन रहे हैं, और बहुत डॉक्टर रेणु मिश्रा ने बहुत अच्छे से उसको रिसाइट भी किया, तो जब हम सुनते हैं तो ऐसे लगता है कि हमारे आगे वो विजन क्रिएट होता जा रहा है,
चित्र का उपस्थित हो जाता है
जी। आपको ऐसे लगता है कि वो आपके आगे फिल्म की तरह जा रहा है,
देख रहे हैं।
और उसमें अगर कोई पोएट या राइटर होता है, डिस्क्रिप्टिव राइटिंग जिसको हम कहते हैं, जहाँ इमेजरी क्रिएट होती है, तो दैट इज रियली वंडरस, वेरी नाइस, वंडरस, वेरी नाइस, बहुत बेहतरीन।
I also agree. मेरा भी यही है कि विजुअलिटी जो है बनारस पोएम में, that's really I would like to read that again and see. And this is something which really I find fascinating, how poets can evoke a world, right? कि जो भी जैसे बनारस के confines में, there's so much of life and even depth is there as a presence. So this idea of visuality is something I really liked इस poem में. So sorry,
and one has to be a poet to see that, to be the keen observant and then jot it down in words. That is the beauty of
तो
poetry.
ये भी, हाँ, इनकी एक ये भी है कि इनकी भाषा बहुत सरल है और एक फ्लुएंसी है कि कहीं रुकता नहीं है। हाँ,
फ्लो ऑफ
यस
वर्ड्स का।
जी।
Prasanna, why are you keeping quiet? Prasanna, why don't you say something? You're a very well-known poet. You're such a renowned poet yourself.
No, one of the thing is, I was just wondering how the poet turned out to be so simple and humble, picking up the, very realist of themes like afternoon. How could he could just, imagine and create a visual, something like that, and it came live I mean, by Dr. Renu Ma'am's reading, and I was just, very much. Very much appealing, and it was wanting to have a read on it. I mean, it's like, yeah, that is remarkable. Remarkable. Thank you, ma'am. Let me ask Dr. Rupali Sarkar ma'am to introduce Sunita Hussain ma'am, who will be talking about Dr. Tom Morias, who is an English poet. Up next.
Would you do that, Prasanna? Do I have her bio with me? Did you send it to me?
Yeah. I have
Okay.
this.
Okay. So we have our poet and
Sunita Hussain.
critic, Sunita Hussain, is a postgraduate in English literature from Delhi University with a diploma in journalism and mass communication from New Delhi YMCA Center for Mass Media. She has been senior English teacher for the last 26 years and has been actively involved with publication of various newsletters and magazines of schools as editor, assistant editor. She also had been into content writing for key publications, reference book, and into online poetry writing at International Poets Community, with many moderators bagging pick of the day and special mentions of the week to the credit. She also has experience of PR consultant and journalist, specialization in art and theater reviews, with microcosmic illustration. An orator by heart, she loves to give counseling sessions as a volunteer. You better come and counsel me. Thank you so much, Sunita. You're really very erudite scholar.
Thanks
And
a
we're
lot,
looking
ma'am.
forward to speak on Dom Moraes. Very few
Yes.
people read Dom Moraes now.
Yes.
So it would be wonderful to hear you.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. And wishes to everyone, whosoever is listening to this poetic meet. Dom Moraes, generally not a very popular one among readers, but an Indian. He lived in India, born in Mumbai, now Mumbai, Bombay at that time, on 19 July 1938, and he breathed his last on 2nd June 2004. Dominic Francis Moraes, his full name, Dom Moraes, was an Indian writer and the poet who wrote in English language, but he published around 30 books. And he was the one who was so sensitive that when there was Gujarat riots and he learned about it, he immediately rushed to that place. And he said that being a Catholic, Muslims won't be afraid of him. And he started working for them for the rehabilitation and all that. That is the main thing people remember about him, not as a poet. So today I'm going to discuss about him as a poet, and starting with his early life. Moraes was born in Bombay, as I said earlier, to Beryl and Frank Moraes. His father was the former editor of Times of India, and he attended the city's St. Mary's schools and then left for England to get enrolled in Jesus College, Oxford. He spent 8 years in Britain, in London and Oxford, New York City, Hong Kong, and then he came back to Delhi, to India. He edited magazines in London, Hong Kong, and New York. After having the experience, he became the editor of famous Asia magazine in 1971. He scripted many television documentaries for BBC and ITV. He was a war correspondent in Algeria, Israel, Vietnam, and that touched him deeply. That violence, that war. And he was even, when William Wordsworth passed away, he wrote a poetry dedicating it to him. And he was known as a person who could interview anyone at any point of time. He even interviewed Dalai Lama after the Tibetan spiritual leader got political asylum in India. And Dalai Lama was then 23 and Moraes was 20 when he interviewed him. That was something Dalai Lama himself has discussed in his interview, one of the interviews, that how he was talking to Moraes about his asylum and about his escape. Everything he talked about in detail, and he gave this credit for opening up to Moraes in one of his interviews also. Moraes suffered from alcoholism. Like generally it is being said that people, those who are into writing, or they get this bouts of maximum Urdu poets also had this problem that they used to get indulged in this habit of alcoholism. He also suffered from that, and he had cancer, but refused treatment because he wanted to die in peace. And then he breathed the last in Bandra, Mumbai. As I told you earlier, when Gujarat riots erupted in 2002 and the news came, he was in immense pain. It was immense pain in the sense that that pained his heart. And his works, let me talk about his works now. In a beginning, his first books of poem was there. Then he printed in 1960 his second book of poems. Then Gone Away and Indian Journey, memoir he published in 1960 itself, John Nobody, which talks about search, self-exploration, personal journey. And then Baldam and Others, again, pamphlet of verse, Absences, book of poems, then collected poems, which was published by Penguin in 1987, and Out of God's Oven, Travels in a Fractured Land. And he was closely associated with Saryu Srivastava, the co-author, which was Saryu Srivastava. And then this Don Morris, he has talked about his personal memoirs. Sometimes he's talking about imagining himself as somewhere wandering around in this in the rustic town, maybe in the cemetery, or somewhere losing and then finding himself and going through his personal journey, which was there in his mind, going on in mind and heart. And he was the one who discussed a person's journey with his own self, as if he's talking to some other person. Like as a poet, his poems are mostly like soliloquies, not like monologues which he wanted to share with others, but like soliloquies, the self-reflection kind of things. So I'm going to read some of his works. This poet's, born in India to English parents, but he decided to stay here. So that is why we have included him in Songs of Poets of India and Songs of India. So this one is the poem Key, a kind of a thing he's looking forward to. Ground in the Victorian lock, stiff. I think we can very well understand that Victorian lock he's talking about himself, that those were the times when Vanity Fair was at peak. Ground in the Victorian lock, stiff, with difficulty screwed open, to admit me to the 7 more stairs and the badly kept garden. Who runs to me in memory, through flowers destroyed by no love, but the child with brown hair and eyes smudged all over with toffee? I lick his cheeks. I bounce him in the air. 2 bounces and he disappears. 15 years later, he returns, not as a postponed child, but a letter asking me for his father, who now possesses no garden, no home, not even any key. So, the way he has created the feeling that you actually move into the heart and mind of a young man who is trying to explore his childhood, trying to explore, going down the memory lane. And this nostalgia is not with fond memories, but in the end, it's like locked in a vault. And when he grew up, he explored himself that this world actually no home, no garden, and the child who is born to the English parents is now feeling lost somewhere, feeling as a stranger. One more is there in this category, family dinner. The sprundled turkey waited for the night. The scything holly clashed. The pleading pea of bells swung Christ back on a horny heel. To clutch the cross like a desired wife. And now pinned there, he flutters till they come. The gross men and women they are with, who kneel and take his soft flesh in their teeth, and chewing the holy cud, flock slowly home. There as the golden children gather by, hung with chill bells, the harsh tree is displayed. A delicate fear wets each child's eyes, while the gross father with the whiskey flush deepening in his cheeks prepared the blade to pare off from the bone the warm white flesh. The poem is titled as Family Dinner, but the way it has explored the world of people, those who are shallow, they talk about other, and then he straight away comes to how gross men and women are, because he was against the Vanity Fair, he was against the showcasing of things, and when the people display something else but inside they are gross, and then he talks straight away about it in it's a family dinner, he has named it, but on the there is a paradox in this, that the way it's actually the kind of slaughtering is awaited. So the pathos it has created in the poetry, very realistic portrayal of his inner grief, his inner struggle, where he's indecisive that what should be there and what should not be there. Sometimes he's writing about, but one thing is clear, that he's not into the favor of that slaughter and the way things are going on, and the child who is watching it all, his eyes are wet because of the things the child is seeing, and the poetic devices like horny heel, warm white, the alliteration he has used in between, and similes, that creates the descriptive one, that okay, we actually understand the inner child who is crying and asking for the compassion, seeking empathy from others. I think that's all from my side.
Sunita, he wrote a poem, letter to his mother. Is that, do you have it, which you could perhaps read a little bit of that? Because that's pretty well known.
Yes, ma'am. His poem on the death of William Wordsworth and letter to his mother. Let me just a moment.
You know, when I was in college, that's when Dom Morris was very well known. So
Yes,
I
ma'am.
had, I'm familiar, but I'm very happy that you brought him up today. And, he's a very well known Indian English poet. Something like Ruskin Bond also, whose parentage is English,
Yes, ma'am.
but settled in India. Yeah.
I could get hold of Mom, which he has.
But he's also, written poems which is very interesting about not only a letter to the mother, but also
Yes, ma'am.
son's letter to the father.
The subtle complexities of human relationship which he has brought out. I feel that a part of it I could.
Doesn't
Is
matter. You can read
two
something else.
stanzas. It's there. Just a few lines I'm having of it. You do not understand me. I'm tiding my life in this cold, tidy country. Very simple words have been used over here. And I'm filling a small shelf with my books. If you should find me crying as often when I was a child, you will know I have reason to. I'm ashamed of myself. Candid confession is there. And the way he's writing, when he was in England, he didn't like that place. He wanted to come back to India at that moment. This is what I could feel from this poem. And somewhere he has written, my mother tried dancing with me today, but I kept resisted. I didn't have a smile on my face. And we danced at a pretty slow pace. My poor mother, she tried. She really did try, but I didn't show any joy, not a single laugh. And all I felt was sadness because my mother was trying her best, and I was.
Wow.
This also a simple, subtle, and subtle way of expressing the complexity of human relationship. And when a child is actually, wants to convey to his mother that how he feels, and in a very simple vocabulary, he's discussing his mental state with mother.
मैं इस पे थोड़ा सा
Thank
बोलना
you so
चाहूंगी.
much.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, बोलिए.
सुनीता, जैसा आपने बोला कि इन्होंने अपने बारे में बताया, अपने दिल की बात रखी, ये बहुत कम लोग कर पाते हैं. बहुत मुश्किल होता है ये. आदमी समाज की बात रख लेगा, देश की बात रख लेगा, दूसरे की बात रख लेगा, लेकिन अपना दिल खोल के रख दे, बहुत हिम्मत चाहिए इसके लिए. क्योंकि हम बहुत सारे बाउंड्री से बंधे रहते हैं. हमें समाज में अपना चेहरा दिखाना होता है, हमें एक स्टेटस बना के रखना होता है, हमें गुडी गुडी दिखना होता है. तो हमें बहुत भय होता है कि हम कैसे अपनी बातें हम कैसे बताएं, अपने fears कैसे.
बिल्कुल
तो इन्होंने अपनी बात कही, दैट इज अ वेरी बिग थिंग. कैसे कही, दैट इज अ डिफरेंट एंगल, पर कही. फॉर दैट claps for him.
Really
I
true.
think सारे poets, most poets, they are also self-reflective, right? वो अपने doubts, अपने
very few, मैम. हाँ, इमोशंस रखते हैं, बट
नहीं मैम, रेनू मैम, मुझे
अपनी जो निगेटिविटी है, जो अपना डार्क साइड है, उसको नहीं लाते. आप देखिए, वो निगेटिविटी लाएंगे, अपने दुख लाएंगे, या अपने को रिफ्लेक्ट करेंगे, सेकंड पर्सन में करेंगे, पर अपना डार्क साइड नहीं रिफ्लेक्ट करते. जैसे इन्होंने अपने बचपन को रिफ्लेक्ट किया, कौन करता है? वेरी फ्यू. उसके लिए बहुत हिम्मत चाहिए.
आप सही कह रहे हैं डॉक्टर रेनू मैम, आप यू आर राइट. बट उसमें क्या है ना, देखिए, एक चीज है, एज अ पोएट आप क्या सोचते हैं. जैसे कि एक उर्दू पोएट है मजाज, वो क्या है कि उन्होंने अपने अगेन ही वाज फाइटिंग विद अल्कोहलिज्म थ्रू आउट हिज लाइफ, एंड एट अ वेरी यंग एज ही डाइड in Delhi, and there was a close friend. उन्होंने ना इतना बेहतरीन लिखा है कि किसी को अगर किसी बेवा को एक विडो को ऑब्जर्व किया है तो उसके बारे में भी. डॉम मॉरिस का क्या है, he was against that Vanity Fair. वो जो शोबिज है, जो कि इंग्लैंड में उस टाइम में बहुत पॉपुलैरिटी पे था, और मदर और फादर चाहते हैं कि ये वहां, जैसे रस्किन बॉन्ड के ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स चाहते थे कि वो वहां जाके सेटल हो. क्योंकि मोस्ट ऑफ द इंग्लिश पीपल हु वर सेटल्ड, द ऑफिसर्स हु वर देयर प्री इंडिपेंडेंस एरा से पहले, जितने भी लोग थे जो इंडियंस है, वेदर जो सेटल हुए, दोज हु डिसाइडेड टू गेट सेटल. देखिए, हमें यहाँ पे अगर डॉम मॉरिस के बारे में समझना है तो उनकी मानसिकता कि कैसे, हिज माइंडसेट वी नीड टू नो before we embark on the journey of his poetry. We need to know that what kind of mindset he was having and what kind of things he was fighting with. एक poet होता है जैसे आप ये देखिए, जो हमारे पार्टीशन के टाइम के जितने भी पोएट हैं, या तो वो अपने पर्सनल उस पे जाते हैं, पर्सनल लिखते हैं, या वो जो समाज में उस वक्त हो रहा था या देश में उस वक्त हो रहा था उसके बारे में लिखते हैं। दो चीजें होती हैं। पोएट जो होता है वो अपने इमोशंस, फीलिंग्स या थॉट्स को जो एक्सप्रेस करता है, या तो अपने सोसाइटी में आसपास जो हो रहा है या प्लेसेस को जो वो ऑब्जर्व कर रहा है, हर एक की निगाह एक जैसी नहीं होती किसी भी पोएट की। मे बी आई विल बी वन डे आई विल बी राइटिंग ऑन अबाउट माई ओन सेल्फ, माई ओन थॉट प्रोसेस, एंड नेक्स्ट डे आई ऑब्जर्व समथिंग एंड आई राइट अबाउट दैट थिंग। सो एक पोएट का एक जो नजरिया है, सोच है, वो उसकी पोएट्री को बनाती है। और बहुत सारे पोएट पर्सनली, अगर आप भी होंगे तो आप भी सोचेंगे कि मैं पर्सनली लिखूंगा तो लोग मेरे लिए जजमेंटल होंगे, और लोग जजमेंटल होते भी हैं, आपके अपने भी जजमेंटल हो जाते हैं। ऐसे एक इंडियन
मेरा
पोएट
तो पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस है, जजमेंटल हुए हैं लोग। और हाँ, और अगर आप मेरा था कि मैं काफी पॉलिटिक्स पे भी लिखती थी भाई, लिखी जैसा आपने कहा कि आप अपने पर लिखते हो और कभी आप समाज पे भी लिखोगे,
बिल्कुल
आप देखते
बिल्कुल।
हो। हाँ, और अगर आपको लिखने का है कि आप लिख सकते हो तो क्यों नहीं लिखोगे भाई। हमको दूसरे के लिए भी जीना चाहिए, दूसरे की भी आवाज बननी चाहिए। तो इसको लेकर मेरे पे बहुत अटैक हुआ, और एक
होता है मैम।
इन्होंने, हाँ, और एक दायरा बना के रखा जाता है कि भाई आप महिला हो, सुसंस्कृत हो और ऐसे अच्छे घर की हो, तो आप इनमें क्यों पढ़ते हो, आप
बिल्कुल।
क्यों लिखते हो। भाई क्यों ना पढ़े, क्यों ना लिखे।
नहीं
तो
मैम,
ये होता
क्यों
है,
ना पढ़े
जजमेंट
और क्यों ना
होते
लिखे
हैं।
एक बात अलग है, लेकिन
हाँ।
बात यहाँ पे ये आ जाती है, हम ये कहते हैं क्यों ना लिखे, क्यों ना पढ़े, लेकिन अब आप एक इमोशन से, मान लीजिए आपके मन में कोई इमोशन आया और आपने उसको पोइट्री में उतार दिया, आपने वर्ड्स, आपने पेन पकड़ा और कुछ लिख दिया। पोइट तो ऐसे ही होता है, वो कोई किसी हालात, किसी सिचुएशन का थोड़ी ना वेट करता है कि अब मैं ये लिखूंगा। कोई उसको डिफाइन क्यों करेगा ना। और
और
कोई
एक्चुअली होता क्या कि जिस आप स्टेट में लिख रहे हैं, जिस तरीके की फीलिंग आप में है,
बिल्कुल
जिस फेस में आपने लिखा है, अगर वो पढ़ने वाला भी उसी फेस में होगा तभी वो उसको समझ पाएगा। मेरा
बिल्कुल
तो ये मानना है।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
अगर,
अभी मैं
हाँ, और अगर
बिल्कुल
वो किसी और उस स्टेट ऑफ माइंड में है और किसी और स्टेट माइंड में आपने लिखा है, तो उसे हो सकता है कि वो अच्छी ना लगे कविता, क्योंकि वो उससे
बिल्कुल
हाँ, उसे टैली नहीं कर पाएगा, लगेगा अरे ये क्या बकवास लिखी हुई है। हो सकता है कि बाद में किसी समय पढ़ने में उसे ठीक लग जाए, कि वो समझ पाए उसका बैकग्राउंड क्या रहा होगा, क्या उसके पीछे
नहीं, उस
उनकी
वक्त
सोच
एक तो
रही होगी।
स्पर, एक होता है वर्ड स्पर ऑफ द मोमेंट, स्पर ऑफ द
यस।
मोमेंट में किसी पोएट की क्या इमोशंस है, और वाकई वो
हम्म।
उसकी इमोशंस है, या वो किसी को सिर्फ ये बताना चाहता है, कोई बात करना चाहता है और उसने पोएट्री का सहारा लेके अगर कोई बात की है, तब भी लोग, मैम डॉक्टर रेणु मिश्रा मैम, लोग जजमेंटल हो जाते हैं, आपके अपने लोग जजमेंटल हो जाते हैं।
बिल्कुल।
आपके आसपास रहने वाले, आपसे रिलेटेड लोग, अरे ये क्यों लिखा है, ऐसा क्यों लिखा है, वैसा क्यों लिखा है, आप पे क्वेश्चन उठते हैं, और कई बार आप खुद पे क्वेश्चन उठाने लग जाते हैं, और लोगों के क्वेश्चंस की वजह से अरे ऐसा क्यों है। जैसे मैं आपको यहाँ पे एक छोटा सी बात है, लोग इतने जजमेंटल हुए, सदाहत हसन मंटो थे, एक उर्दू पोएट, जो यहाँ से राइटर, जो इंडिया से पाकिस्तान चले गए पार्टीशन में,
मंटू
एक
हम
छोटी
जानते हैं। हाँ,
सदाहत
मंटू
वहां
बहुत
से।
वेरी फेमस,
तो
हाँ, बहुत
उनको
फेमस है। हाँ।
उनके वहां पे पाकिस्तान में कोर्ट केस चले
हम्म।
कि आप जो लिखते हैं वो समाज के दायरे में नहीं लिखा हुआ। तो उन्होंने एक लाइन बोली थी कि जो मैं देख रहा हूँ, साहित्य समाज का दर्पण होता है, तो जो मैं देख रहा हूँ क्या मैं नहीं लिख सकता हूँ। अगर मैंने कोई किसी को एक दयनीय स्थिति में लिखा है, देखा है, और उसके बारे में मैं लिख रहा हूँ, तो क्या बुरा है, क्या मैं कटघरे में खड़ा हूंगा। और वहां तो खैर गवर्नमेंट ने, लोगों ने कटघरे में खड़ा किया, तो एक पोएट को तो लोग अपने ही कटघरे
बिल्कुल।
में खड़ा कर देते।
तो खैर ये डिस्कशन बहुत लंबा है और बहुत
हाँ
लंबा जाने वाला है,
बिल्कुल
तो हम इसे ब्रेक
बिल्कुल
करते हैं और हमारे
या,
होस्ट को
या,
बोलने का मौका देते
जी
हैं।
जी जी, ये
ओवर टू
डिस्कशन
यू।
फिर किसी दिन के लिए। ओके
ये
मैम,
फिर किसी दिन।
थैंक यू मैम।
Yeah.
a big Bilkul, ma'am. I think we could have a special discussion on this.
Yes.
It's been a wonderful evening. It's been a wonderful evening. We have come to know about poets we have never heard about. At least I have not read. I have heard about them. Dom Moraes, of course, I was very familiar with. But, Renu Mishraji and Dr. Parvinder, you have given us such a wonderful insight. And Sunita, you have spoken about an Indian English writer who's I didn't know that his parentage was British because he was for me always an Indian poet. And to be able to be part of this country, to be able to write about the things that belong to this country, whether it's a city, whether it's an afternoon in the city, whether it's the mangoes, whether it's the women carrying bricks on their head, whether it's, your parentage, or in fact, Domaris has written the biography of what is this? Gavaskar. He has written the biography, and Sunil Gavaskar's biography. He also has written a book on Trishna, the boat that went around the world that the Indian Army took. So he was a journalist also. So today has been a very, very fruitful day, and it's a pity that Colonel Gautam Rajrishi, who is going to speak today, his father has been taken ill, but next time he'll be here. So we had more time, so we could do something that we haven't done before, that is discuss. Prasanna has been very quiet, so because I think we're overwhelmed by a whole lot of women's voices, or what?
Yes.
Come on, say something.
Actually, I think it's more of we're not talking about we are not only talking about poets, but we are paying tribute. Actually, we are paying tribute to the poets. We're delving their struggle, their life, and their everything.
Really.
So it is such an honor having Dr. Renu Mishra ma'am, Parvinder ma'am, Smita ma'am, enlightening us, Kedarnath Sharma, Singh, and Don Morias, Professor Puran Singh. And it's also sparked a kind of debate today that how one So it's such a beautiful evening, and thank you for joining us. Viewers, please watch us and watch for the announcement for the upcoming date of Poets Talk About Poets. See you until then. Bye.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.